there often after school. And he had a younger sister that was in 6th grade. And so, 6th grade, 8th grade brothers, sisters, most of the time you don't get along with each other. Well, for some reason, we were in a big tiff, fight, argument. I don't even remember what, but we were just sniping back and forth, getting on each other's nerves. She did something to us, I don't remember, so we thought we were going to get her back. Luckily, we had some balloons and a faucet outside Davy's door. He had a back exit into the backyard, and there was a nice little tap right there. So balloons, water, faucet, simple, right? We filled up some water balloons. We went back inside, and now Krista had a little mat outside her front door. So we put the water balloons underneath the mat. Then we went back to his room, went around the outside, and rang the doorbell. Now, what do you think is going to happen? She opens the door and steps on the mat and just squashes water balloons. Well, that's not much, right? Well, she opens the door, and of course she sees this big lumping mat with water balloons. So she picks up the mat, throws it away, and picks up the water balloons. She comes tramping through the house, charging, going, "Do you think I'm that stupid?" And she throws the water balloons at Davy's door, completely soaking, ruining this Clemson football poster that I'd given him from Christmas, which I hated Clemson, so I wasn't too upset with that. South Carolina, go Gamecocks. But completely ruining that. Now, that doesn't seem like much of a get back, right? Now, any of you know me at all, you probably know, even in 8th grade, I wasn't going to do anything that simple. See, before we did all this, we took a video camera, and we set it up in a bookshelf aimed right at the door. You see, Krista thought she had won the day. She thought she figured out her whole trick, grabbed the water balloons, and we're just going to throw them at the door. Little did she know that we had planned all along for her to find the water balloons, pick them up, and walk through the house and throw them at his door. We planned it perfectly. I've never done anything that perfect before planned out. So we had the videotape completely out of context, like, Davy's parents, look what Krista did. We don't know why. She just seemed to get angry, and she ruined the Christmas present I gave him for Christmas. She should probably be punished. And so she was punished, and we won the day. That's a trickster's tale. One side thinks they've won, only to find that was part of the plan all along. We have these stories all throughout history, literature, pages. We see them in movies and everything. Just that right there, the idea that somebody thinks they've won, but that was always part of the plan. At the last second, it's revealed. Half the movies that come out in a year basically have that plot. But have you ever thought of that as the plot to Passion Week? If you have, you certainly wouldn't be alone. Some of the most influential theologians of the church thought of the cross and Passion Week in those terms, like St. Augustine and Gregory of Nyssa. Now, Gregory of Nyssa you might not have heard of, but he was influential in the formation of Orthodox theology. We kind of take for granted the Holy Spirit's part of the Trinity, the Holy Spirit's divine. There was big debates for a long time about that. Gregory of Nyssa was influential in getting the formation of the idea of the Trinity and the Holy Spirit as divine, as part of the Godhead. He wrote about Passion Week and the cross in terms of a trickster's tale. So I've told you one trickster's tale this morning, so let me tell you another. This one's about God, and it's about the devil. See, God invades the territory of the devil. John 14 says that the devil is the prince of this world. And he invades the world in a way the devil would never expect, in human flesh, in the form of a servant, one who dwells among us, in the guise of a baby born in a manger in Bethlehem, who grows up in Nazareth, the son of a carpenter. God comes incognito to earth, veiled in flesh the Godhead see. So most do not recognize who Jesus really is. And when people do recognize him, Jesus tells them to shut it. Keep your mouth shut. When Jesus heals somebody in the Gospels, especially in Mark, he says, don't tell anyone about this. Just go make yourself clean, but let's not spread the word. Now, often, what would they do? They'd spread the word. It's kind of ironic in the Gospel of Mark. The times Jesus wants people to be quiet, they speak. And at the end of the gospel, when he wants the women to go spread the good news, they're silent. It's kind of like we were talking about in session Tuesday night with the youth who were there getting confirmed. When you wanted them to talk, nothing. Once you stopped wanting to talk, boom. Same thing with the elders, though. Once you wanted them to ask a question, nothing. When you wanted to speed it through, then you have lots of questions. It's often the case, isn't it? When you want somebody to talk, you get nothing. When you want silence, chitty, chitty, chatty. So, Jesus doesn't want these people to tell anybody. It also says when the demons were cast out of people, Jesus would keep the demons from talking because the demons knew exactly who he was. And so he quickly shut them down because he didn't want word getting out who Jesus was. It's called the messianic secret in the Gospels. For some reason, Jesus doesn't want people to know who and what he really is. Well, it's all part of the plan. I mean, he preaches the good news. He is seen as a great prophet. He heals people. He's someone who can bring the people back to God. I mean, people think he's another Elijah or he's another John the Baptist. And so that makes Jesus public enemy number one for the devil. So if you're king of the world, what do you do with public enemy number one? You get rid of him, right? You find a way to kill him. So that was Satan's plan. Kill this prophet named Jesus. So Satan starts to work his plan. John writes in John's gospel that the devil prompted Judas to betray Jesus. Other gospels, not really the case. But in John, you see the devil working his plan out from the beginning through Judas. And when Jesus died, the devil thought he was victorious, that he had scored a great victory. Aha, this guy was getting a following, this guy was doing good, people were paying attention, but I twisted people's hearts and minds, and now he's out of the way. Yes. And that's what the devil thought of. Anybody ever read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis? Anybody? A few people? Or seen the movie? In that, Aslan's this lion, and Edmund, this boy, is kind of under the charge of the White Witch. He betrays his brothers and sisters, and so the White Witch says, anybody that betrays somebody is my property. I get to kill them. And Aslan says, no, don't kill him, kill me instead. So he goes up to the table, and he's tied down, and the White Witch gets this knife, and she says at the very end, right before she's about to kill him, she says to the lion, Aslan, what is to stop me from killing the boy once you are dead? Your death has not saved him. You have lost and I have won. In this knowledge, despair and die. This is a trickster's tale, remember? And in such a tale, nothing is ever as it seems to be. You know, it's seen the devil has won the day, but the devil didn't have all the information. Gregory of Nyssa, again, that 4th century theologian, explains it this way. Everybody's going to get their 4th century theology for the day, so you can mark that off your to-do.